video production team. We have a special guest here today to talk about her two nonprofits, the Project and T10, Tithe One On. Please welcome Detective Kim Bogucki from the Seattle Police Department.
Thanks for having me.
What inspired you to choose the law enforcement?
I actually chose a career in law enforcement 25 years ago. I was in college and I wanted to figure out a way to work with youth and young adults that were maybe getting involved in the criminal justice system. And I saw law enforcement as a way to do that.
What inspired you to start the IF Project?
Well, the IF Project actually kind of organically started. I went into the women's prison in Washington State. There was an organization called Girl Scouts Beyond Bars that wanted me to work with the girls that were in that Girl Scout troop because their mothers were locked up. So I went in to meet the mothers, and I randomly asked the if question, which was if there was something somebody could have said or done to change the path that led you here, what would it have been? And one of the inmates that you can see on our video on our website actually started asking the inmates inside the prison that question, and they started answering it and writing it down, and they gave me the answers to that question, and then I started meeting with them, and we decided to put a video together and kind of create a program for youth.
What is the goal of the IF Project?
I think the goal of the IF Project is to figure out how to share people's stories in a way that will get youth to kind of lean forward and listen to them and ask for help so that they don't end up making choices that could lead them down the wrong path, whether it's to prison or maybe not going to college because they were afraid to ask for the help they need. How do we get youth to ask for help so that they can be successful and learn from other people's stories that didn't ask for help?
That's a very good answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do you do to support the participants in the program?
So when you talk about participants, I assume you're asking about my team.
Yes.
So my team, just to give you a little background, my team is about 24 people, adults that have been, all of them have been incarcerated at some point in their life. And they're my speaking team, and we go out to schools and churches and community centers, and we speak to a variety of different youth, not just kids that are in detention centers or what have you. But my team, I support them by giving them the ability to share their story in a really heartfelt way and make a difference in a youth's life, and hopefully get that youth to ask for help, like I mentioned earlier. And also we kind of support each other. If there's stuff that's going on in their lives, we make sure that they get the things that they need to be successful.
So going on to the youth that you're talking about, how many of those youth that you speak to are former gang members and at-risk youth out of all the people you speak to?
Well, a couple things. Sometimes I don't like the word at-risk youth because I think that every youth potentially could be at risk. And I think with this project, it's really important that all youth see these stories or hear these stories, because there may be youth that are heading down a path that we don't know they're heading down yet. They're making choices that could lead them to incarceration. So when you want like an example of at-risk or former gang members, you know, we are in detention centers and we are in juvenile prisons doing the workshops as well as just basic schools. And a lot of those kids obviously have been in trouble for something, and some of them have chosen to be involved in gangs. And when I talked about my team earlier, we actually have some people on the team that were heavily involved in gangs and have gotten out. So when we go into these places and speak to kids, whether it's kids that are locked up or kids that are, you know, in schools that are thinking about joining gangs, I think that them hearing the message from my team members is a really good way to get them to start thinking on how to slowly get out of a gang, because it does take a while to get out.
What is your feeling on the stories you hear from the women and males that are incarcerated or being in rehabilitation?
So you want me to talk about how the stories make me feel a little bit?
Yes. Like, what's your emotion?
Well, I think the project in general for me is a kind of an emotional project, because I think the one thing that makes this different than like Scared Straight, which is kind of a known program, is they really speak a lot about stuff that they've gone through from a really emotional place, but it's not anger, and they actually talk from their heart. And when I hear their stories and I start hearing the kids open up and start talking about their stories, it's really emotional. So as much as it can be sad and overwhelming, I actually feel really good that the youth have found a place to open up and start talking about these things and seeking help. So that it's kind of twofold. It's emotional and heavy, but it actually gives me hope that we can actually be making change by somebody else's traumatic story. Does that make sense?
Yes. What percentage of participants have been rehabilitated since the beginning of the program?
Well, the participants that are talking about the team, we've had about 30 people that have been on the team, and sometimes they leave to get jobs and other things, and none of them at this point, knock on wood, have gone back to prison. So we've had 100% of the people that are on the speaking team not end up going back to prison, which is a great number for us.
How many communities and schools participate in the IF Project program?
Well, in Washington State, we're in 5 different counties, and we're in Seattle Public Schools. We're in 7 schools in Seattle Public Schools. I just flew in last night from Baltimore, Maryland, and they're looking at replicating it. And we've been to Los Angeles, Colorado, New Jersey. We've been to Baltimore to do workshops. So we've done a lot of traveling, and we get a lot of requests to come out and have people take a look at the project and see where they can put parts of it, implement parts of it.
How effective would you say this project has been in talking to youth?
I would say in being a police officer for 25 years, and I helped create the youth outreach unit at work, so I've done a lot of work with youth. In my 25 years of police work, I have never seen youth or young adults actually respond in the manner that they have with this project. And I really believe that the magic in the project is having the person that is the formerly incarcerated person kind of be the messenger and tell the story, and it creates an instant trust or something with the youth. So I would say it's highly effective, and the youth absolutely open up and ask for help, a majority of them at the end. And I've never seen something like that happen in a 2 or 3 hour workshop in my career.
Do you feel like that you're a motivator or an inspiration to others to change their life?
I feel like I think that
Or like
I
do
get
something to
yeah.
change?
I think that the project is a really good motivator, and it's inspiring. And I think that, you know, as much as I might inspire in the job that I do, like my team is really inspires me. So I think in the kids, when they stand up and they share what they've gone through, I think everybody ends up inspiring each other. And so it's just a kind of a collective that's, we kind of keep each other motivated. You know, when we get a message from a kid that we thought there's no way he's going back to school, and 6 months later he's texting going, hey, you know, remember that IF workshop you did? Just want to let you know it made me go back to school and I'm graduating. And the whole team gets to celebrate in that, you know.
So do you
it's
sort
pretty
of, do you keep communicating with the people that you work with?
Some of the youth keep in touch with us, and we have a Facebook page, and they'll reach out to some of my team members through that. Yeah, we definitely keep in touch if they want to.
All right. Well, we are going to be right back with the T10 project. Thank you for watching.